Welcome to Memoirs of a Fitness Trainer podcast. As always, I am your host, Ryan Tullis, joined by my forever co-host, the wonderful Mr. Tyler Johnson. Say hello to all 8 fans. It is growing.
Forever and always. He gave me a ring.
The funny thing is, that's actually a cock ring. He just wears it on his pinky.
Yeah, okay. We just lost 3 of the viewers.
I'll win you back. Don't you worry.
Oh
All right.
God.
Today we're shooting a little bit more from the hip. We're going to be talking about a kind of hodgepodge of topics as it relates to the training field, as always, right? But what we're going to kind of kick things off with a little bit is a topic that's a little bit more near and dear to Tyler's heart here, group fitness, and talking about how trainers, or we'll say trainees or general gym goers, walk into group fitness as well as walking out of group fitness, as they see their training career or the methods they're using for training evolving depending upon the training situation, the training setting they're in. So what I want to talk about first is, what do people go through when they first join group fitness, and kind of what kind of culture shock is that look like, or in your experience, Tyler?
So there's 2 types of people that go into the group fitness atmosphere. People that have experience with weightlifting and people who have absolutely zero experience with weightlifting. There's not like the
Um,
moderate,
yeah, but
yeah.
with that, again, let's not just think only CrossFit or only cross training. Let's think
Oh no, I'm
Zumba,
thinking I'm
jazzercise.
that's what I'm saying.
Really?
These
Okay.
people, oh yeah,
Okay.
100%. People like women who are a little bit older. I see come into the gym. They haven't done like any group fitness classes. They only have like experience from maybe high school or some gymnastics or something. So it's just like way deep in the history. Or even with Pilates, like there's a lot of group style classes that I see people come in, and it's one of the two. It's either I have done absolutely nothing, I have no experience, or it's that, yeah, I've weightlifted and I have some experience. I'm coming into this because either, you know, they're 45 years old and they haven't had a training program in 20 years, or they had kids and now they're just like, getting near retirement. Like, hey, I've got some extra free time. I want to take my health more serious. I used to be in really good shape. Now I really don't have the commitment or the availability to kind of come in on my own time. They don't have the willpower. So they're kind of looking for that group fitness atmosphere to kind of get them more involved and looking for a coach. Um, the retention of it is kind of like, do they stay with it and how long? That's kind of what you see. Is you see the people who get sucked into it. They love the coach, they love the atmosphere, they love the vibe. And they just continue it. And some of those people just they never leave. Like that's what they do. They love the group fitness. And then you have some people who just they take it, they don't like it at all. They go back to what they were doing before and they drop out. And then you have the hybrid, which I think is kind of more our interesting topic. The person that starts group fitness, starts getting, pretty good, but is looking to do more. So they're just like, okay, I like my group fitness classes, but now I'm trying to do more on top of it. And often they don't have the experience on the weight floor or with machines or with
Mm.
equipment to kind of set up their own program. So then that's when we see those people kind of come to us. That's my experience. Do you have any other kind of nitbits in type of demographics?
I like the kind of journey you went on there. Like there was a portion of it I'm like, we're so off topic, it's ridiculous. And then like it kind of came in, I'm like, oh, I see exactly what you're talking about here. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've always seen, or I don't want to say always, because that's really final or like specific, but I have almost always seen from people that they go into group fitness expecting it to be mindless. That they look at it because, all right, fitness is really complicated and hard to understand how the body works. Like there's a lot of things going on, right? And I've typically seen that the people that gravitate towards group fitness, they don't want to think about fitness. And that's not a knock. It's you don't need to be like some super nerd for this stuff. Like not everyone needs to be that way. Like I get it. Me and Tyler here are a little crazy because like we are so interested in it. But I think when someone goes into an environment to get fit and they're doing so not trying to learn, because a group fitness instructor, they're not really sitting there teaching you why something's done the way it is. They might spend the time to teach you how to do a movement correctly, but you've got a class of 30 here. Are you really going to take the time to give an intro level physiology class? Or are we really going to go ahead and go and like, let me quiz you on your anatomy? No. That would be the most ridiculous jazzercise class ever, which, yeah, I chose jazzercising for the satirical effect that it has. But that aside, I've never taken a jazzercising class ever. That's a blatant lie. Besides that little part, I think because people go into it without the express idea of learning, and they just kind of they figure it out. Like they see a teacher teach them something, and they fill in the rest of the explanation. Like we're doing this because it's this. Do they have any idea if that's really the way it is? No, they have no idea. Again, like they haven't spent the time learning. And again, it's not really a knock against them. It's just you don't get to have the individual experience, the we'll say the expertise required to pursue fitness as an individual when you've really only ever spent the time in a group fitness setting just trying to go through the motions to try to get to the other side, which is to be fit. Does that kind of make sense at all? I feel like I kind of went on a little bit of an adventure, if you
I mean,
will,
I'm still a little bit stuck on the jazzercise class, but you and I can dive into that another day.
offline. I got you.
Really want to know that experience. Yeah, I don't want to embarrass you here. No,
It
not
was
smacked into the
great.
jazzercise. Um, no, no, I mean that completely makes a lot of sense. The people in the group fitness classes that I see that come in with that mindless experience, they typically have a goal on the back end of their mind, and they think, man, if I just keep coming, it's gonna work, which is the honest truth. It will keep coming. But the ones that fail are the ones that don't pair the rest of their life around that idea. Like they try to get to that goal, but they're showing up to classes and they're not losing any weight. Okay. Well, what's happening? Well, they're getting a little bit stronger. They feel better. It makes them feel great, but they still have that lower back issue. Okay. And they're still working on top of the bad knee. Yeah, they're still going at it. And they never take the time to either recover or specifically, um, get to that injury and to recover. Or for the people trying to lose weight, they don't make the adjustments in their diet, right? They're just like, oh, I go to this class and then I go over to the donut store and I get 3 donuts and a coffee and then run the rest of my day. So it's the ones that don't have that side of the knowledge. And it's not always a group fitness coach to speak to that.
No,
They can kind of mention the details or my F45 experience, they run programs where it's like an extra $35 a month. You're part of like a cluster of this group, and it's like, hey, you show up and you get like an hour with a one of the trainers. We talk about your goals. We kind of manipulate things and tell you guidelines to kind of follow outside, and weigh in, and it kind of gets a little bit modeled. But again, that would be a field of personal training. It's you're working one-on-one with a coach. So as far as the failures and the atmosphere of the people who just come in with that, like, I just don't want to think about fitness. I want it in front of me. You see that more often than not. But I also see the person who's just like, man, I used to be an amazing athlete. I still mountain bike 20 miles, on Saturdays. I have these powerful body, but I just don't have the motivation to go to the gym and lift. So they show up to classes and they get their lift in, and then they go and they do their biking. Those are the ones that they do have injuries that they just work off of, but they have that athlete mentality where it's like, either I'm going to get hit by a train one day or that shoulder pain's going to go away. Like, it's one or the other.
no, that's true. And those people are there, but I will say I do think they are kind of more of a one-off. Like the person that's already in pretty good shape, but they just need that extra little push to go further. Like that's someone that's already a student of their body. I mean, whether or not they know what they're doing or like their entire education base to that point could be entirely wrong, right? But they have still
Right.
spent a lot of time trying to learn the body. And I just don't see when people transition from one environment, if you're there to just endure it, I don't think you really take very much from that to go to the next environment. And as I think where the contrast of people transitioning out of group fitness is like you've been going to the
Yeah.
gym for 2 years. Great. That is astounding work. And I am so proud of that person. But let's not spin our wheels here and try to lie to ourselves saying that that person spent 2 years training. They have spent
Right.
2 years showing up to do an activity that they themselves don't fully understand. And because of that, they don't have that same 2 year gym experience as the guy that came in and might have just only done machines, right? Like, again, this guy probably doesn't know that much either, but he has spent
Right.
2 years figuring out weightlifting and figuring out the gym floor. And even though that guy might still need a trainer, man, I can tell you who I'm going to have an easier time training.
Yeah.
That's for sure. It's going to be the guy that's been out on the weight floor for the last 2 years. Granted, he's done everything wrong, but shit, that's still something to play with.
Here's where I challenge that experience because if somebody came into F45 because F45 does clean and jerks, kettlebell swings, does pull-ups, does a very wide variety of movements that are, they're pretty well thought out and pretty planned. So they're going to have an experience with clean and jerk. It's not going to be, I mean, unless you have a coach like me around who's like certified in USA Olympic lifting, like when when I went last Thursday and I coached, um, clean and jerk was on the list, and it's not like a full barbell. It's 30-pound bar or 25-pound
Yeah.
bar. It's a little bit shorter. They still have plates that are the right height, but they're only
Yeah,
doing
yeah. No,
115 pounds, 105 or something, like very at the max. And but like the other coach looked at me and was like, "You're gonna watch that side because that's your thing." I'm like, "Yeah, I will do that. I will teach people." And it's like, I have very little time to kind of like work with somebody.
mhm.
They're still getting tidbits of experience. And if they were to have somebody like me as the coach who's there and were to do this for the next 2 years and then come to you as like, oh, I worked with this coach slash F45 coach and they actually knew all the cues very well. Awesome. But then there's the other side, right? They have a coach who has watched some videos, they've done the movement themselves, they've never been trained in the field, and now they've coached somebody to a T of what they're expecting, which the coaches around me, they're excellent. Like not to piss on F45 as a whole. I'm sure there's like one or two of those coaches out there, maybe not so familiar. It
Yeah.
seems like they do a
No
pretty good job
organization's
hiring.
exempt from it.
Right. No organization doesn't have that one person who's just like, oh yeah, when you're doing push-ups, you want to put your elbows out wide so that way you get more torque out of the shoulders. It's like, what did he just say? Like there's gonna be that one off. But that's my experience. But it's not to talk to other types of group fitness atmospheres. Those are people that get stuck in something, like the group fitness classes that are like, hey, this is boot camp 101 by Jesse, and Jesse's like at the front of the class with the microphone and like, all right, everybody grab your dumbbells. We're gonna go here. And they're just like they're going in motion and they're getting no cues. They just have this one person in front of them who they're watching and like trying to mimic the motion. And they develop this pattern that Jesse doesn't stop the whole class to say, hey, you, Martha, over there, I'm gonna come work with you one on one. Everybody else keep doing what you're doing. Martha, you're gonna get down here. Like it doesn't always work like that.
So does your Jessie in your mind, does she about like 5'5", twice divorced, have the most atrocious sunbed tan that anyone has ever had for like 40 years, and has a short blonde haircut and may or may not wear clothes that are way too tight, but she's like rail thin and looks like she may have leukemia, maybe sick, maybe she's just been under a tanning bed for 30 years? Are we
Oh,
imagining the same person?
I definitely thought Jesse was a dude,
Ah,
but you went in a whole different direction. And you know what? They're probably the same people.
oh, well, if you're teaching group fitness as a man, you better have a tribal tattoo. You better have a unnecessary addiction to kill cliffs. Like that you better just have 30 of those bad boys every day. And you better wear Metcons everywhere, except for when you wear dress shoes for some fucking reason. But it's Metcons every
No,
all the rest of the time.
no, and you're showing up in cargo pants.
Oh
Like
yeah.
why? Yeah, like why are
They're
you showing up in
functional.
cargo? He's got cargo pants and boots. Um, yeah, okay. Yeah, that
Got a
Jesse's
truck he
got
doesn't
it.
use. Oh yeah. I we
Yeah.
we know these people.
Yeah, and that's a development pattern. When people move out of it. right? That's kind of our topic is when they're coming out of that field and they come to us. And so give me some examples from your experience. You've definitely seen people like that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I've had it kind of go from different ways, right? Like I've obviously taught group fitness, and as much as I again, it's not my favorite thing. I've done it, and I felt like I was fairly successful at doing it. And you can teach clients to have really good form, and you can really drill them on things, and you can get movement patterns to get there as time goes on, even in group settings. Like it's doable. I think the end product is always worse, personally. Again, that this might be my stigma, but my experience with it has really always been that you have to break someone down and you have to really get rid of bad habits. And
Yeah.
it's just to a point where it's like, I would honestly rather that cardio conditioning that you have and the consistency that you've built. I would almost, not quite, but I would almost rather you not have that and me have to start you from ground zero personally.
Mm.
Like, trust me, if I have my choice of the two, I'm picking the person that's been in group fitness for 2 years because they have all the consistency, they've built that pattern, and they have probably great cardiovascular strength.
Yeah.
But I know I have my work cut out for me, and it's going to be because of Jesse doing, could be a guy, could be a girl, who knows? Maybe she has
Yeah.
a spray tan, maybe it's Maybelline. We don't know.
Yeah.
But but um always laugh at your own jokes, folks. But I think
Here's my follow-up.
that people really walk out of group fitness. Nah, I got there. I got a little lost.
Yeah.
I came
Yeah.
back.
I got you.
But I think people really struggle with the fact that they have almost been lied to, or the expectation hasn't been properly explained. Is
Right.
that, oh, I'm going to the gym to do these things. And then when they transition out of it, they realize that they have to learn pretty much everything.
Mm.
And yeah, they might know how to hinge, kind of. They might know how to, all right, hey, abduct your hip. They might know these things, kind of. But for every one of those they know, they have a movement pattern that's been established for 2 years that does not work the way it's supposed to. So, yeah, I'm trying not to like totally shit on group fitness again. We already did an episode where I tried to do that. Um,
Here's
but
my
I
here's my
do,
here's my
yeah,
question. Here's the why do these people come out to you most of the time? Why?
lack of progress every time.
Lack of progress. Lack of progress or injury.
Yep.
That's the two. That's what I see. It's like I started going to this class. I was doing it for a while, and then my knee started bugging me, and I just, I kept on working through it. I had to take some weeks off, and now I'm told by my doctor because I went and saw him that I need to get some rehab, and they went to a PT and they worked with him, but they stopped doing the exercises and they went back to the classes, and now they have
Yep.
the pain and it's returned, and they're looking for a little bit more like tailored training.
Yep.
That is literally every story I've gotten. Um,
Yep. It's
there's been
either,
the
I
one-off person where it's just like the opposite, where it's like, hey, I want to get better so I can go take the group classes. It's like,
love that person.
okay,
That person's my
yeah,
favorite human being ever. It's like, hey, I like that class a lot, but I know nothing. Can you teach me?
yeah,
Oh my God. 3 months time, I'm putting you in that class and you're going to make everyone look
yeah.
like shit because you're awesome. Like, I
There
love
was
that person, the humility.
there was one guy, and I think you remember me working with him. He was like 6'7", and he wanted
Oh,
to do alpha.
yeah. I remember that
He wanted to
guy.
do he wanted to do alpha training. God, he was a good dude. But he was like, dude, I
He
want to do
was.
alpha. I don't know how to do like anything with a barbell. And we broke down Olympic lifting for like 3 months. And he finally went in there and he was comfortable with like how to do Olympic lifts and how to work with a barbell and move his body. And he was like so happy that he did it because he's like, if I would have been in there, it would have been so tough. And he's like, I was afraid I would have hurt myself. I'm like, we have great coaches. Like they wouldn't have they probably would have dumbed it down for you, and you would have got there. But you took the right steps of being very well versed in it and then taking the course.
Delayed
Yeah,
gratification. He put off starting the thing he wanted to do because he knew he needed to learn it. And that's why that person's such a rock star. Like
yeah,
to want to make moves so quickly because there's always an element of emotion when it comes to fitness when you're trying to lose weight, gain muscle, gain strength, performance, not hurt.
yeah,
There's almost like an element of desperation emotionally involved there. So to sit there and just like, hey, I'm gonna put this on a shelf because I need to learn this stuff before I can go do the thing I want to do is that guy's a machine. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beast. Um, so all right, I kind of lost it a little bit with that because I had God, I really want to meet out that guy. I think his name is Max. Really
I
fun
don't think it
guy.
was
Really
Max.
fun guy.
It was
I think
Dan or
so.
something.
No,
What?
it was something. Some
I
there's some
mean,
three
you know
letter
better than I did. I
Tim.
just met the guy like a couple times in passing.
Tim. I don't know. All right, so we're getting a little tailored off. So my experience with just like recently, because I'm in club, so of course I see people that are in these classes and stuff, and
Mhm.
I have people that I coach in my TRX class who actually, like at the end of the class are like, oh my God, like that was very tough. You were coming over and you were kind of saying I was in the wrong position. Can you show me that? I'm like, no, I don't have time. Right now I got more clients, but why don't we sign up and kind of like work one-on-one and I can get you familiar. Those are the people that are not embarrassed and they have the humility to stop and do that. And they're smart. There's the other people that are in the class that I want to stop and be like, you can't do this. You
You
don't
need to
need
leave,
this. You should leave. Like this is not for you. But I'm not. I don't have the authority to do that.
dude.
If I own my own gym and it's like a group fitness to be like, hey, you are gonna work actually in my basics one-on-one course, where I go and cover that. You're gonna show up to that class multiple times for the next 3 months, and then you can come take this course because this is advanced. Like, that would
Ooh,
be how I'd run group fitness.
I have a ethical dilemma for you from a group fitness standpoint. If
Oh,
you
here
owned
we
a
go.
gym and you had three levels of classes, which think back to Lifetime, right? We had that kind
Hmm.
of the different levels of classes in theory, right?
Right.
Well, you go from beginner, intermediate, advanced, sure. Um, how do you, as a business owner, coach a coach to graduate clients when they're supposed to, even though as they graduate clients, they're actively losing money, and you have a coach that's almost at the head of the hierarchy, the advanced guy, that everyone that goes from the beginning is eventually going to make it to the advanced with him.
Yep.
How do you ethically coach someone to not prioritize themselves in that manner?
You
I have
have
no
all
idea.
the you have all the coaches teach all the levels of classes and cycle through. Let's say I had
Hmm.
3 coaches and I had a month of training because I don't want people with the same coach forever. If I had a facility, they're gonna get stagnant. They're gonna get bored. I mean, they might love that coach, but I gotta have a team where everybody loves every coach because they're the best. And if there's one person that comes to me like, oh, like, I don't really like this coach, I'm gonna ask why. I'm gonna dive into it. I'm gonna talk to that coach and be like, hey, this person's really having an issue with this. I want you to kind of change your atmosphere around that, or we're gonna talk to that one-on-one. And if we're to be like stimulating like more than enough people, where it's like, hey, 10 people have come to me and said that you are showing up late, you're having drinking coffee, like they don't like how you act, I'm firing that coach. But I'd have all the coaches be like, hey, you're teaching alpha, you're taking the elite or tier three for the next 2 months. What's your training phase? What do you want to go through? This person's doing tier two, this is doing tier one. And then at the end of it, it's like, hey, Stacy, you're going to take over tier three. Like this is going to be the training phase. I want you to develop a map for it. You're going to meet with everybody and then you're going to go through it. So that's how I transition through. So everybody's teaching because you want the best coach or the number one tier three trainer or like whoever's your best teaching the basics as well. You don't want them always teaching the best because that's not going to make them better. It's funny. It's funny to think that like teaching the best does not make somebody the best coach.
Mm-mm.
You got to teach people fundamentals and then, mid experience and learn how to cue when somebody's doing something wrong. And not only that, but the experience of seeing somebody at a lower level is something that can spark a thought for somebody's had that elite level. Like,
Yep.
man, this person is having a really hard time popping the bar off their hips and rowing up. Oh, well, I had this intro group work with a barbell of just doing barbell weight, nothing else on top of it, ripping lift and tucking their elbows. Maybe I should have him do that. Like,
That's
oh
cool.
wow, did that for a week and now he's learning like I have to shrug. Got
Well,
it.
that's such an interesting thing because it really highlights how important constant experience as a trainer is to constantly be kind of pushing your boundaries a little bit and not putting yourself, of course, in like situations you're not geared to be in, right? Like, all right, let's not widen your horizons too much by, hey, let's go work with this guy that just had a quadruple bypass. It's like, you know nothing about the heart, but like, widen your horizons. Like, okay, no, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
little too much.
Let let that guy go to a cardio specialist, hook him up to a 12 lead, get him on a cardio map and make sure that he's walking
Yep.
correctly. And yeah. So that's we're not
Yeah.
gonna do sit-ups today.
No, 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 we are not. But
Decline
I,
push-up. Decline.
that'll work out great.
Yeah, totally.
Uh,
Elevate his
do
legs
not
and
do
push all
that.
the blood to his heart.
Yeah, the body kind of tends to send blood where you shift it. If you're standing, it goes all down. If you're leaning in one direction, it goes that way. I don't know. It's kind of
Super
simple,
weird.
but weird physics. Okay. Well, I think we've
Yeah.
kind of beat the group fitness topic a little bit to death right now. I do want to shift on to transitioning clients from in-person training to virtual and kind of back and forth a little bit,
Ooh.
but let's go ahead and put a bow on group fitness a little bit. This is more your world, so kind of surmise what should a client or a just regular gym goer expect in going into group fitness as well as transitioning out? What would be we'll say the average experience and what should they expect to gain out of it?
Um, a big word is FOMO, is fear of missing out, is when
Mm,
people leave a group fitness atmosphere, they feel like they're leaving people behind. Like when I did CrossFit last year, I did it, in order to kind of get my experience back to having somebody cue me and relearn the cueing experience with movements. And when I had to leave, because I'm like, I'm going to commit to this job and I no longer can take this class with this coach,
mhm.
I felt like, man, I'm really letting these people down. And that's why people stay, is they love the coach, they love the field, and they love the people around them. They don't want to let those people go. They want to keep that atmosphere. It happens all the time when people move away. It's like, oh, I'm moving. There's like a going away thing and like a going out dinner or something.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's like when you leave a job correctly. Like people are sad when you go, but it's not to be sad about the experience. It's to be happy with the knowledge that you gained from that experience and to move forward with it. And for the people that are returning or choose to go back, you get to say, awesome, like I have worked on myself so that I am of use to myself and those around me for a positive experience versus, man, Diego busted his shoulder doing clean and jerk and it came out and now he's going back in the, rehab and he came back and he's going straight back into the workouts and he's having all this pain. It's like, man, maybe he should have taken some months off and done his own training and then came back when he was ready. Like,
Okay. But what expectation could they have for leaving group fitness? Not the
okay.
FOMO, all of that, more the
Yeah.
specifics in training methodology, that kind of side of things.
Yeah. I mean, if when somebody leaves the group fitness atmosphere on personal choice and it's like, I want to take my fitness in a different direction, it remodels their new experience. Their mindset shifts into a different direction where it becomes more personalized and now their goals can be kind of like now they can either push numbers, look for weights, look for repetitions, and it's a whole it's I mean, it's unique in the change, like as far as the experience wise, like it can really heighten somebody's like overall self-esteem to be able to know like, hey, I took this group fitness, I've gotten the knowledge, I've gotten really good, and now I'm going to go put to work for myself what I've learned in a weightlifting atmosphere.
I still feel like you are giving the average group fitness goer so much goddamn credit. And it I mean, it's like, all right, the average person that leaves group fitness, I'll tell you from a numbers standpoint what that is. It's the average person leaves group fitness because their schedule changes and they can no longer go to the 8 a.m. booty camp fitness thing. Like it's usually
Yeah.
time and
Yeah.
injury or lack of progress, all things that they're not choosing to make their life better. They're,
Okay.
oh
I'm
crap,
relating
I have
personal
to.
experience.
Huh?
I'm definitely relating personal experience, but
I
yeah.
I kind of picked up on that. I was like,
Yeah.
that's
I guess
not
for
what
the
people do.
the average gym goer, yeah, something comes up and they kind of get screwed. So they have to make a switch and they're kind of
Yeah.
forced and they kind of are scared and it sucks. They often leave and don't come back for a while. And when
Yeah.
they do, it's it's really
Yeah.
half-assed. They just
And it's
end
like
up
they
just
try
going
to,
to machines. They hit the treadmill or elliptical for 45 minutes. And then we see them in our office looking for an assessment because it's like, hey, I used to do group fitness and now I don't know what to do on the floor. Came to the right guy.
yeah. So I think a way to kind of like put a bow on it is group fitness is a great place to be, but understand that it doesn't equal you going somewhere else with fitness. Doing personal fitness and pursuing weightlifting or pursuing fitness on the gym floor on your own and learning how to do it does gear you to do group fitness very well. But that's not a street that goes the other way. And
Yeah.
it's still beneficial, right? And it's nothing wrong with choosing group fitness. As much as I'm definitely someone who's a little against it in some ways, it is a completely viable way for you to pursue your fitness and whatever makes you feel happy. Just have good expectations of what it does lead to. It'll get you a little bit more in shape. It'll get you to lose some weight, get you to feel better. All these great things that are most of what people care about, but it's not
Yeah.
necessarily going to teach you fitness in every aspect. If you've taken a class like
Mhm.
Tyler's, or I'm not even going to give myself that credit. It's been too long. Take a class like with a guy like Tyler, you're going to learn how to do things very well, but understand that Tyler's a one-of-one coach. It's a very hard thing to find someone in a group setting that knows how to see a small shift in a shoulder, that knows how to see, like, hey, you're using your calf a lot there and you're not supposed to be. And I saw that from 30 feet away while I was coaching somebody else. Like, that's a rarity. So just have good expectations.
It has nothing again. Like it's still so tough because
So
I'll
hard.
have a class of like 16 people, 18 people. I have a timer going. I have other movements. I'm looking for people just not to injure themselves.
Yeah.
I get like a small touch. I get 3 seconds to say, hey, put your elbows down.
Yeah.
There's no why. There's no beyond like what it does. I'm not going to say like put your elbows down to engage your chest to have your ions a little bit further. And also you want to feel the contraction to make sure that you're shifting this. I don't have that much time. Hey, elbows tighter.
Yep. Super simple.
Move
It's like,
on.
hey,
Next
put your heels
person.
down now. I'm not going to tell you
Yeah.
why. I'm not going to tell you how to shift your weight. It's put your goddamn heels down. Like
When I have
I
people
got,
set up for a squat, I
yep.
say hop in the air, land, heels out, toes out. There's your squat position. Here we go. Like
You
there's
got to
the
make it
like
that way.
perfect. Yeah, that's like that. I'm like at least they're wider than your hips. I know that. Unless somebody jumps in the air and they just land with their feet next to each other, then I'm like, all right, you go one more time with the heel toe out.
Someone jumped
You,
up and
why did
like
you land
landed
like a
straight.
sumo? Like, why did you land like a sumo? All
Oh man.
right,
Okay. Moving on
got
to our
the
next topic, which this is something a little near and dear to my heart, but I know you just kind of went through something pretty similar with this with one of your coworkers.
yeah.
So what we're talking about is the transition from in-person training to virtual and the transition from virtual to in-person training. And we're going to say virtual and define it more as you're doing a video workout with your coach on the other side, not online coaching. Because online coaching is you facilitate a plan and you do video calls with someone where you're more talking like this. Virtual training is oh, I'm still sitting here doing this, but you're over on the other end working out in front of me, and I'm giving you cues based off of that. But it's a very different thing. So in-person training to virtual training back to in-person training. And I think you have a story for us there, Tyler.
So
What'd your coworker go through?
yeah, so I have two clients that came from a previous coworker, and shout out to Corey, he's awesome. One of them worked with him, they loved it, he was going really well. But then he had to move away, he was moving to Reno, so he like kind of tailored off and was like, oh, I'm trying to get a refund for my sessions, couldn't get a refund. Corey tried to hook him up, and like he was trying to get him involved, and so he started doing some video coaching. It just wasn't the same experience for the guy. So he was just like, Corey was doing his best. He left me with some programs. He had me the trainerize, which trainerize, if somebody's not familiar, it's you're getting video coaching, but through small little tidbits, and it's tailored out as far as a program. Like it'll show you a structure, you press start and go, and you do your workout, but you don't have a coach with their one-on-one. But to my knowledge, Corey was also doing that like video coaching, was like there with him on the phone, like talking him through it, and it just wasn't the same experience. The other
No.
one, same kind of instance, but it was doing only the trainerized stuff, only the online stuff. He's like, yeah, it's just not what I was looking for. and he wanted that in-person experience. What I found is both of them had the same view, which was when they transferred to the personal online training, video coaching, or whatever it was, that's not the experience that they had came in for.
Hmm.
They're only doing it because they love the coach. And I
Yep.
can tell you right now, there's a couple coaches I work with that, I butt heads with philosophy, and I wouldn't send my clients to them based off what I've heard. Um, Not that I don't respect them, but if I were to go ask their clients, like, what do they think of them? Their response is gonna be like, oh my God, they're the best. And that's what everybody thinks. Everybody thinks that their trainer is the best, unless they literally suck. Then you'll have somebody be like, that trainer sucks. He's terrible. I paid him. And I'm like, I wish I'd never done it. That's like the, 1 out of 10. And it's only because you have that bad trainer. But the other experience is this 9 out of 10, where it doesn't matter who it is, they're looking for a personal relationship, would be there one-on-one with somebody who's going to motivate them, keep them happy. That was the biggest feedback I got from one of the guys, was that, Corey was just so positive when I come in. Like, I didn't really want to work out, and he just gave me the energy, and I just loved being around him. And we'd hit the workouts hard, and I go home feeling better. And that's kind of the experience that they were looking for. Now it's hey, online, well, I got this hour free. Okay, I'll hop on the phone. It's like, okay, set them down here. Now you look at the weights and you have to put on your headphones. You don't have your music going in your ears because that's what you want when you're working out on your own. And now you have somebody talking to you, but they're not there, so you can't really laugh and joke with them. It's a lot different. It's
Hmm.
way different. And they end up, at least the two that I've worked with, they both, they left.
Okay.
So you have probably a lot more clients that you've seen kind of come to you from maybe the one-on-one, or that you've kept or have, switched out. So let's hear your background story.
I don't do virtual training anymore, period. For this
Mm,
exact reason is online coaching and in-person personal training are two entirely different things. We're both trying to work towards the same goal, but we're using completely different methods to get there.
yep.
And though a good in-person trainer should ideally be a good online coach, and a good online coach should be a good in-person trainer, not every client that comes to you is going to be a good fit for one or the other. And we make this mistake as trainers to think that everyone's with us because of our amazing skill set. They're with us for very specific things and roles that we fulfill for them. And if it's your training methodology is the only reason they're there for you, like, oh yeah, that person switches from in-person training to online coaching like a breeze. But I usually find that guy is very hard to find. He's a very unique person and not the norm. Most people, they come there for accountability, and not accountability in like, hey, someone's watching me at the end of the week. No, I have to show up to see that person. And when I show up to see them, it's like seeing my buddy. Well,
Yeah.
doing a video call with someone that you see sometimes and kind of talk to, it doesn't have that same intimate or that more personal feel that comes from being in person with them. And I again, this is I hate to kind of just push away a portion of like my industry, because it is a pretty big portion of it, and it's an emerging portion of it that's going to become more later. Which hey, Tyler, mind talking for a second? I got to switch my battery here.
Yeah, it looks like your screen just went black. Um, yeah, the the virtual coaching, like coming from a in-person coach, if I was going to go into the atmosphere, like you talked about, the idea of somebody switching, like, okay, ideally somebody who's a good in-person coach should be a great virtual coach. It would end up with me like this, like looking, like dialing into the screen, like, okay, and feeling like I want to just put my hand through the screen, because one, like if I'm telling somebody to physically like roll their shoulders back into place, a lot of the times they don't know what I mean. And when I have to stand up, like I'd have to be sitting here at this mic and stand up and be like, okay, no, you want to put it like this. And then they're watching me on the screen and they're like, okay, like this, like, no. Yeah. And I just feel like it'd be a fight back and forth. We're just trying to figure out like how to position one's body. Because, my overall going back into what I, pursue is like the ideal personal trainer is, a posture correction specialist with also some ideals of trying to get people to accomplish their goals. And posture, somebody who's got amazing posture can move their body very well. So if I'm trying to do that as a virtual coach, trying to improve somebody's posture, and I can't physically be there with them, and I'm looking into a screen and trying to, no, turn your camera. Like, okay, and I'll do the squat again. Okay, can you put the camera like up a little bit? Like it's taking
Yep.
away time from their workout. And it's like they're not going to walk into a gym with a fitness stand and bring them with me and set me up at every angle or like, okay, do that again. Okay, get up, move the camera to your left. Great. Now sit back down, do it again. Okay, not quite saying move the camera. Like I just see it as being so annoying.
It's just doesn't work. And again, this is I don't want to push away from it too much because I don't want to reject a portion of my industry too badly. Like even group fitness has a place. Like everything should have a place in training. It's just a tool
Yeah.
and it's how you utilize said tool. But I do think part of what we get from training is you do have to view your client from a million angles. Like I have a in-person client who I've been training for a little while. She had a stroke about a year and a half ago, and like we brought her back and everything. Like she's an absolute rock star, but she has
Nice.
horrible neuroception feeling on her left leg. It's so bad, like specifically in
Mm,
her adductor QL complex. Like she has, I could stick a knife in there, and I don't think she would know that I did it. But when I see her squat from the side, when I see her squat from in front, she looks perfect. Like I could not make a better squat. But then I go ahead and come back around to the other side and I start looking at that fucking lucky left that's caving in. Oh yeah, that's a horrible squat. But if I was looking at it from just an angle, I'm gonna say that's the greatest squat I've ever seen.
yeah.
So I think
I would
virtual training is
I would
very
almost
limited by
need
that.
I would almost need if I had like virtual training, I'd have to have them be like in an isolated room. I had like six cameras that I could be like on a screen, like clicking through.
Sitting
Okay,
there like an old
there we go.
school security guard, like going through the
Yeah,
screens, right?
yeah, like that's
You'd
my
almost
angle. There
have
we
to.
go. Yeah, because I'm constantly like
Oh
when I'm
yeah.
working with somebody, like I'm moving around them. I look like a creep. Like
Dude.
imagine like
Yep.
such a
I'm,
weirdo, like getting down on the ground with them. Like,
yep.
okay,
You're looking for all these small, minute details, and I don't think like a lot of people really realize how small some of these details are in like human movement.
yeah,
Like you think about like someone like, hey, pull your shoulder blades down into your lats. It's like that is a movement that might what half an inch, maybe. Even that's still sounds like a little too much. And it's
yeah,
like you have to be able to see that from, 30, what is it, like 20 feet away. When like you're
yeah,
watching your client, you're working, you're moving around them in different angles. Like it's such a small movement to see. And to only have one camera angle, and it's not going to be from like a DSLR like my camera here, or a 4K webcam like yours. It's going to
yeah,
be done by someone's phone that's a front-facing phone that we don't even take selfies with anymore because it's such bad quality. It's like,
right.
okay, that's not ideal. So I don't
Yeah.
think it works personally. That's my hot take on it.
And it's not even that it doesn't work. It's it's our ideal is the people that transition into it. You know, the virtual coaching that does work is virtual online nutrition coaching or
Hmm?
consults. You know, the idea of like sitting down with somebody because that's what their need
Yep.
is you're matching that need where it's like, hey, this person, I don't need them doing the 20 things at once. I need them sitting down with a pencil and a piece of paper so they can write down what I'm saying and use it and apply it and use
Yep.
that as knowledge. It's like they're taking a course online. Like people can do courses online because they have the virtual coach in front of them and they can type on their computers and have their screens. But yeah, the personal training aspect, I see it as being so ridiculously difficult that I would never pursue it
No.
at all. Yeah. Like I understand the idea of like my fight against the idea of training online or online training is like, I want to be there physically and fighting that for me and like every other trainer that you've probably talked to or even the people that you have on your team is like, how do I do this when I want to be there and correct their form and like if they're doing the workouts and like that's the only fight against that field. But the
Mhm.
virtual is like I'd almost prefer that somebody was just following some workout on a device that was just showing
Yeah,
some videos versus me trying to sit there with them and have them move the camera and correct posture. And like, it's not worth their time. And at that point, just go take some group fitness classes, in my opinion.
I'm right there with you, man. I would really much rather like if someone needs like tailored form work, I probably go through about a dozen different form videos a day of like my
Yeah,
online clients sending me things, and it's like, and there's some of them where I'm like, all right, that camera angle was worthless. I saw nothing. Like I've
yeah,
no idea what you were doing. I think a squat. I could not be sure. Um,
yeah,
and so you are limited, of course, on that side there, but I do think that's a much better client experience to go through that and need the form checks. And yeah, maybe we wait till next week when I get a better camera angle to actually see what the hell you're doing. Like, yeah, all right,
right.
there's going to be a limitation for everything in the same way as in-person training is typically limited because you only have a couple hours with them. That's why you typically see in-person training paired with a virtual training aspect or a virtual coaching aspect to it, which we're going to have to
Right.
figure out some like definitions for some of these things to like be very specific with them. That way we're not getting confused. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree with you. I think virtual training is too limited and the client experience is so poor that it would almost just be better to do virtual coaching, which is just you're administrating a program with somebody and you're helping them run their own program. I think that's a
yeah,
superior way to do it personally.
yeah. That's the best way I can do it. I mean, I do in tandem now because you kind of put me onto the ideal and it's worked for a few people. Some people hasn't. I mean, I've had maybe 14 clients that I've put on Trainerize and are all in person that I also have them check off other workouts on their own. Probably three out of those 14 actually do the workouts. So, for those other people, I would do it for them for a couple weeks and now they're on there and they just track their calories or their steps and that's all I need from them because they're showing up in person and that's what they want. And they want somebody there. And it's like at that point, I just have a sheet. I have the workout written out. They'd rather have that than go through the videos and
Yeah.
log in all the weights and numbers. They don't care about doing that.
No.
They just want to know what weight did I do last time? Awesome. Sick. I already know this movement. You taught me how to do it. I don't want to watch the video. I don't want to use my phone. I'm here to not use my phone or be on my phone and walk through a workout. If I wanted that, I would have just bought an app and just done it.
Yep.
So
No, and
the
I agree with that.
transition period is tough. There's the other people that want it. It's like that's exactly what I want. I don't want to pay for a personal trainer. They're too expensive. I just want the workouts and I want somebody to work with that's going to be there. But at the same time, I just want people to just build my workouts for me. Hence, Ryan told us.
No, it's true. It's not for everybody. And I do, and I will agree with you. Like my first like year of like bridging back into, or we'll say entering back into online coaching, I was super dogmatic about it. And just want to remind everyone that was only a few years ago. That this is not like Ryan a decade ago learning. It's like, no, just a few years ago, I really thought everyone like online coaching is the ultimate way for you to get to.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of people that I have one guy I train right now in person that, quite frankly, there's nothing on God's green earth that I could do to get that man to open that app and just enter a weigh in. Like just the most mundane thing. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Like I could pay
Yeah.
this guy $1 million and I swear to God I won't have a weigh in tomorrow. Like I know
Here,
it.
here's what I found is the best solution after saying all this stuff, and this is the best solution I've came up with. And it's been accepted and I'm waiting to kind of put a little bit of work into it. I'm just, same time I got my full time what I do.
You got other
And
things
my
going
free
on.
time
Yeah.
is what I do in my free time. But it's my clients, they want the workouts, but they want my cueing. So I told you about what I do. I take their phone and for somebody is I record each movement on their phone in order with my cueing in the first round of the movement or something like that, and I have it on their phone. So that way, in order, it is the full workout. It's all eight
That's cool.
movements we've done for the day, and it'll be like they can go through that. Like, hey, this is your workout. Just follow the videos that's already on your phone. The next level to that is, hey, this is what I have most of my people doing that have this type of body stature. I'm gonna record myself going through this workout, put it up to YouTube, just follow the workout. And I've asked people like, hey, would you be interested? That, oh my God, like if it was you, yeah, I would totally want, I would follow along. They would watch the video and just follow it and just pause. Like they're like, that's what they want. They want to work with you. That's the in person. They don't want to be told, hey, here's videos of other people doing this movement. Okay, but you showed me how to do it like this. Like, do you want me doing it like that? That's usually how the feedback goes. And I don't have the
Mhm.
time to upload every movement and change it
No.
over. Like, so it's a ridiculous volume of library to do all that stuff. I'd be recording like four movements every day for the next 2 years and probably get close to it.
Even then, I mean, you think about it like giving cueing and actually breaking down movements. And then on top of that, oh yeah, there's this thing called like video editing that you have to deal with
Yeah,
too, which
yeah,
takes so much longer than it is to shoot the damn stuff. If you can't tell, I've tried to do exactly what Tyler is talking about, and I got really
yeah.
frustrated and gave up a couple months in. It's
Attaboy.
horrible.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Oh, it's so unnecessary too, but clients do want to see it. They do. They do. You
Yeah,
are right. Is they're not here to get trainer number 7 in the red shorts to show them how to do it. And then trainer number
yeah,
9 in the blue shorts now is showing me how to do a different movement. It's no,
right.
I come here to train with this guy. That's what I'm
Yeah.
here for.
That's
So,
100%. And is actually, I've gotten really good feedback from all my people, everybody who I've had who's just like either I've recorded the video and sent it to them of us in person doing the sessions. I had somebody even today say, "Oh my God, I couldn't try to figure out how to do the squats." And so I went back and watched your video. And so and I heard you telling me about like, pushing my knees to the outside and making sure my knee was tracking over my top of my toe. And I was like, that's so beautiful. Like, where did you hear that? From me? This guy? That's awesome.
that was my favorite thing to hear from clients is when they say a lesson or some philosophy that I taught them over the years as like,
Mm,
man, I wish this person would do this. And like they use my words to go be frustrated with someone else not doing something. And it's like,
yeah.
I want you to stop and think about that for a minute. And there's always some like aha moment, like, oh, shut up. I'm like, coaching other
I I
people is
had
frustrating, isn't it?
I had somebody from the fitness floor hop off of a leg press as I was walking by and came to me and said, "Hey, one of your people said I shouldn't be doing that." And I looked over and it had 4 plates on it, and the dude obviously shouldn't be doing 4 plates. And I looked at him, I was like, "Yeah, probably not." And he goes,
Yeah.
"Why?" And I'm like, "Can you put that on your back and squat it?" And he goes, "Hell no." So you're just ego pressing. You just want your quads to just be totally dominant. Can you squat? You don't look like you're out of shape. That's kind of how the conversation went. But like
Mhm.
I love that. That one of my clients had said something to this guy like because I mentioned it before when I was walking by. I was like, hey, he's like, why don't we ever do the leg press? I'm like, well, you see that guy? He goes, yeah. I'm like, see how much weight he's putting on? Like, yeah. He can get a better result by just having 25 pounds on the sides and just going to depth on that machine and just really using his quads in the right function. He's going down maybe 3 inches and
Oh,
pressing it back up. He doesn't know how to use the machine. So he's not using it properly. He's just putting on a shit ton of weight and then just thrusting it. Like
okay. You're not
I
saying
can
that.
go,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not
You're
saying leg press is like totally bad. Like I understand the application. I'm just like that dude. If he could just take his time and just go learn how to put a barbell and squat on his back, he's gonna get more use and function out of his lower body than loading up 4 plates and trying to press 3 inches.
The irony is that he'll have a better, we'll say, aesthetic result because that's like most people use in leg press, right? It's not because they want
True.
functionality; it's they're going after
Yeah.
aesthetics with it.
Yeah.
The irony is it works for both sides. It's full range of motion always will yield more muscle adaptation for size and growth. So hypertrophy achieved.
Yeah.
It, yeah, that's it's kind of funny. Yeah, that's cool, dude. Good for you. That's a
That
good
was funny,
coach
funny.
working with good people.
Yeah. I've had somebody else actually correct somebody who had a U band around their calves and was doing steps.
Mhm.
And he walked over and that person ended up being one of my clients. It was like, hey, you're actually like I pretty much have all my clients have the same stuff. And so he's like, hey, actually, you're supposed to have your toes slightly pointed in and then use your heel, the drag to the outside. And she's like, do you work with Tyler? I'm like, yeah, me too. I forgot that. Thanks. So
I
it's
had
like,
someone I had someone hit me with one of those today, actually.
really?
Well,
That's
something
funny.
similar, more philosophy. It was someone complaining about how something was hard and that they didn't want to do it. The other person who they're both my clients. The other person told them it's not about what you want to do. None of this is about what you want or what you like. What we want to do is sit on the fucking couch and eat bonbons and drink bourbon. Yeah, we
Right.
don't do that because we have things that we need to do. So suck it up. And he's like, the guy was like telling me all this shit, and I'm really sitting on the other side going, "You work with Ryan, you motherfucker." No, I think that's so cool when clients can coach other clients. And it's this element of this like separate secondary culture or group of people that just kind of spin off of like, oh, that's Tyler's people. Like, yeah. And it's kind of a cool little paradigm to see is like when your clients start like becoming friends with each other. You're always like,
Mhm.
are you guys mingling?
How are you guys? So funny. Matchmaker, call me Cupid. Yeah, love this. So, anyways, that's virtual training for you. We got
Oh
so far off the railroad, like
no.
so
Oh,
far gone,
that
way, way off, like nowhere even near it anymore.
that might be one of our worst ones, and we've had some pretty bad ones. It's
I was like,
we've
I was thinking
we've
about, I'm
gone
like, we're
off
coming up
some.
on an hour, and I'm like, dude, we are, yeah.
All right.
Hey guys,
Let's
we're meeting on the sun. Where are you? Jupiter.
pretty much. All right, so let's wrap it up. I personally think virtual training, the art of coaching someone or being doing personal training just virtually, where you're having someone work out in front of you and you're just sitting there giving them cues, is a very inefficient way to train. I stand by that. It is a tool, and a tool is only as good as you use it for. I just believe that virtual training, we as trainers want to believe it's going to be better than what it is, but the technology probably just isn't there for it quite yet. And when someone goes from in-person training to virtual training, they have to be very aware. Again, just like group fitness, we have to be aware of the expectations of what it can do. Because if you're expecting virtual training and personal training to just be the same thing, you're wrong. It won't be. It's not the same experience. And it's our job as trainers to sit there and go, hey, if you want to do this, I'm more than happy to do it. Like I'll coach you from my the comfort of my own home any day of the week. I'm there for it. But you will not have the same experience. Are you open to trying it and then going back the other way if this tends not to be that way? And I
Right.
think that's just a portion of what we need to do is set expectations. And again, it's just being understanding of what this tool is good for and what you're going to gain from it and what you're going to lose from it too. And I don't think we're having that argument here to
No.
talk about that.
The only argument would be for if it was a single stance type movement. You know, you have somebody who is just working on the deadlift and they are just doing deadlift. And you're there as a coach for an hour with them, coaching them through just the deadlift. And they have the availability to just move the camera side to side. There's nothing else in between. It is just, hey, I want to see this from the side. Perfect. You're going for 3 reps. Take a big rest. You sit there, you chit chat for 3 minutes, bullshitting. How's your day? Whatever. All right, cool. Your rest period's over. Let's get back on it. I want to see it from the front side. And you're just doing, and it's somebody who's already a little proficient, or maybe somebody who's like, I could see it as maybe a rowing athlete. Like, hey, somebody who's going to sit on like the rowing erg and you're going to coach them through their process of their breathing pattern or like, hey, you're not pulling hard enough or change the intensity up to 7. Okay, continue. And you're kind of cueing, but it's just one motion.
Yeah.
You're not doing a full workout. You're not going from point A to point B, correcting somebody who's just brand new into the fitness realm or doesn't know how to do all these different movements. Like that is just, it's too overwhelming and you wouldn't get the right angles. I just don't see that. So
Well,
that's the only type of virtual coaching I could see as possibly working.
like even like someone that's proficient though too. It's like, all right, well, you have proficiency of movement. Yeah, there might be the weird things like, hey, my knee kind of hurts here while I do this movement. Oh shit, let's take a video of it. Like, that's like the perfect person for online coaching is the person that does have proficiency of movement already. So I would go
Yeah,
ahead and say it's that person just skips the virtual training piece of that altogether because it's like, all right,
yeah,
well, why are you paying for this when you can get something over here that's for less money and
yeah.
you're arguably going to get a better result from it because you know how to move.
Oh, that's realistically when you have somebody who, you have a coach who has an Excel sheet and gives you your numbers and your percentages,
Yeah.
and that's when you're like an athlete and building, you're a progressive overload and you're going through your phases. You already know how to do the movements properly, and it's like you only seek help if you have a recovery or injury. So that's really what we're seeing. So I don't know anybody who does that with virtual coaching. So not saying that they don't exist. Sure they do.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there's someone out there that's absolutely fucking killing it with it too. Like
Yeah.
it's probably just a lack of imagination on how you and I view training and coaching and virtual and online. It's probably just a lack of imagination, but I still stand by where I'm at with it.
Imagination.
Mm. I'll put that in there with
Imagination.
I'm gonna need a F is for friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagination land.
Charlie. All right. Let's wrap this whole thing on up. Group fitness is cool if we use it right. Virtual training can be cool. I don't see how it is, but I understand from an experience standpoint that there probably is a way to make it work correctly. I just don't know what that is yet. Walk into things with proper expectations of what you're doing because fitness is not a cure-all. It's not ubiquitous. It's not going to be something that equals out every solution on the end. Understand what you're doing, what it does, what it doesn't do, and make, let's say, educated decisions when you go about transitioning from one type of training or one type of fitness to another, because they're not all the same. But Tyler, any closing remarks before we finish this guy on up?
Hats don't hide your bad haircut.
And I have a
I got
bad
nothing.
haircut, or do you?
I do. It's not
Oh,
bad haircut. I just need to get it styled. And
I
get out
just
of here.
didn't shower today.
I'm gonna
That's
use the
all that
restroom.
is.
I'm done. I'm done with you for the day. Give him the wink.
All right, guys. This has been Memoirs, my fitness trainer podcast. I think Tyler's about to go take a shit. We'll catch you guys here in the next one. Cheers.